I can honestly say that this story took place without any alcohol. And it wasn't over one night, it was a series of nights. And I think of it for this topic because it's probably one of the times that I either had to learn things the hard way or used exceedingly bad judgment. Either way, here goes. By way of context, I grew up in the time when, first of all, there was the Disneyland norm for what happened to young women as they grew to be an adult. They were going to be saved by Prince Charming, or they were going to, ride off into the sunset, live happily ever after. At the same time, and this will absolutely date me, it was a time when women could now take control over their reproduction, and they were burning their bras and they were getting jobs, and women's lib was a thing. So I always had kind of a conflicted view about what that meant my life was going to look like. My mom used to say to me, Julie, you haven't decided whether you want to be the president or the president's wife. Well, she was probably right. She's probably still right all these years later, although I just asked her at dinner and she doesn't remember ever saying that. But that's the basis, the background for this story. This takes place back when I was in college. I was there and trying to meet as many people as I could. And this one day in sociology class, there was this guy who was turning my, those chair desks with the arm where you keep all your books. He was using his legs to turn my chair sideways in sociology class while I was trying to listen to the professor. It was quite embarrassing because, just like Jamie Beth, I was a rule follower, always attentive in the front row. But I didn't know whether to blush, be embarrassed, laugh out loud, yell at him. I didn't know what to do. Well, ultimately, I went out with this guy. For most of 2 years of my college life. And when I was a senior, he graduated a year ahead of me and he joined the Marines. One of the things that I found really impressive about him when we were in college was he was in the officers candidate school. He was the head of the captain of the swim team, always doing a lot of physical training, smart, conversant, well-read. I'm thinking, Prince Charming, maybe, So when he graduated and went active duty with the Marines, they said to him, because you are a single guy, you're new in this, you're going to get to do a year of duty on Okinawa, hardship duty. Camp Hansen, all bachelors, no families, no spouses, just a bunch of guys on the rock. And I really missed him, even though we argued half the time, because, the president's wife part, what can I say? But we decided about 6 months into it that I was going to go over there and we were going to get married. We talked on the phone, but it was really hard to talk on the phone while he was over there because it was like $129 for a 5-minute conversation back in the day when everybody had to pay for long distance. We did find a way to communicate where there were some ham radio operators and we would have to say over after every sentence. What did you say, over? I was bad at that. But after I graduated from college, I sold my car. I packed my worldly belongings, said goodbye to my parents who were not thrilled, and hopped on a plane. I got off the plane in Okinawa. It was probably 10 o'clock at night, really dark. I felt like I had been swatted in the face with a wet washcloth. It was humid. But there he was across the barrier there, smiling at me. I thought, this is going to be awesome. This is an adventure, foreign country. Well, when I got there, I realized that I was going to be staying in the bachelor officers' quarters. Now, the bachelor officers' quarters, you're not allowed to have your girlfriend in there. You're really not supposed to have your wife in there either. As a matter of fact, the bachelor officers' quarters had a Jack and Jill bathroom, which was shared by a guy on the other side who at one point in time said, just so you know, I know you're in there. Um, my boyfriend worked from 5 a.m. when they had to go out for PT until sometimes 6 o'clock at night, sometimes later than that. And because I was really not supposed to be there, I was in the equivalent of well, actually, it was sort of like COVID lockdown with more toilet paper and no masks. But I was in there. And when he would get back, he would be so tired that he could hardly even um, have a conversation, much less eat any of the food that I had made on the hot plate. I was only there for a month. And just before the month, he said to me, you know what, I think you need to think about going home. We hadn't gotten married. Um, and I couldn't quite understand why, but all I did was read, cry, and make dinner while he was there. So I got a ticket. My dad picked me up at the airport when I got back to BWI. I was never so happy to see my family. We went straight to the beach. I never loved the beach as much as I did that week. What I found out later was that he had been put on alert. They were looking for things to get put into play for what was then Desert Shield. And he was going to be assembling medical supplies in case he needed to suddenly deploy. Thank God I left when I did. I could have gotten stuck in a bachelor officer's quarters in Okinawa for I don't know how long. I have since been in touch with him. That door is closed. I'm glad that door's staying closed. Thanks.